Great. Hi everyone, welcome today. And I know a lot of you have been waiting in the waiting room already. And I just want to let you know that we were also here waiting and seeing you guys in the waiting room. So thank you for joining. This webinar is mostly for the students who are interested in tourism industry or people who come from a tourism background. So let me quickly start with what is our topic today, and then let me introduce to our panel. We have one of our lecturer, and then we have our current students who is doing the tourism course with us. So you will hear from an expert and then from a student who is in that process already. So feel free to use the chat box. We can always you can write us and we can always read you. Unfortunately, GoToWebinar doesn't allow us to see you or hear you, so please add your feedbacks, your questions in the chat box, and we should be able to answer them. Okay, perfect. I don't know if you guys are able to see my screen, so please write in the chat box if everything is fine. Let me formally introduce myself. Hi, my name is Ankita, and I'm going to be your host for today. So you will see me speaking a lot because I am going to use the screen to give you guidance on what we are going through, and then you will hear Anastasia and Jaswinder also in between when we are talking on particular topic. So my name is Ankita. I'm also an alumni of BSBI. I did not do tourism course, unfortunately, but I was a master's student with the project management. So if there is some points that I don't touch or you're more expert than me, then I'm really, really sorry for that already in advance. And okay, then let's quickly go to what we are starting. I don't know, are you guys able to see my presentation? Jaswinder?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Then our topic for today is tourism education amidst pandemic. Let me introduce to our beautiful panel today, Anastasia Kiritsi. How are you today?
I'm very well. Nice to see you all. And nice to see my ex-student Jaswinder.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you so much. And same here.
How are you, Jaswinder?
Hello, everyone. I'm good and hope the same from your side.
Jaswinder is also one of our council member. And Jaswinder, do you have something to say on that experience? How was your journey being a council member?
It's a great experience, because the first time I was like when my class voted me for as a CR, so it was a great experience, like how to deal with things, with problems, with connected with school and classmates. It's a wonderful experience. I learned a lots of things, how to like come up with like crisis, how to deal with them, like these kind of things. It's like a great experience.
I'm sorry, while I'm presenting, I cannot see Anastasia or Jaswinder you. So if you have also any comments, please put in the chat box. For some reason, I can't see your faces.
Okay.
Okay. Great. So after you have met our beautiful panel, I'm going to introduce you to what we are talking today. Just give me a moment. Our agenda. So we are going to talk about the current climate of tourism industry and the impact that COVID had. We all know the tourism industry is the one that has been most affected because of COVID. I would say not only the industry, but the travelers like us, we are also affected. We want to get out as soon as possible. So we are going to discuss about the effect that it had on the tourism industry. Then we will also talk about the courses that we offer at BSBI and how it prepares you for your career after you finish your graduation with us. And then we will also talk about the teaching methodologies that we have in tourism course, like what we teach, what are your modules, and what extra we do other than your theoretical knowledge. Okay, and then at the end there's a Q&A session. To be very honest, the question and answers can go in between of any of this agenda, so you can use the chat box while we are talking. We will try to take any relevant questions with the topic in between. If not, we will try to take questions at the end of the agenda. Yeah. Okay, then let's start with the first topic, current climate of tourism industry and the impact. Anastasia, what are your thoughts on this? How do you think it was impacted, and do you think is there any improvement in that now?
Uh, so hello again to everybody. Welcome to those ex-students and new ones. As you know, tourism is one of the sectors, if I'm allowed to say, the only sector that was impacted in such a great percentage. Of course, we had a general slowdown in the entire global economy, but no other sector other than tourism was affected in such a great percentage. We know that now it's the second year in a row that we have a very, very huge slowdown. We all started having hopes last summer, if you remember, but then it came again, the lockdown. And then we are still experiencing this uncertainty now we have the vaccinations, of course, but the vaccinations are not yet available to a big percentage of people, especially in developing countries. So this doesn't allow to be super optimistic for the time being. And this is why the climate regarding traveling has to do with mainly domestic traveling, as well as traveling into nearby destinations. And of course, we all know that it's not easy to be afraid and to have these masks and to have this fear, how you will be treated, how you will be welcomed in the hotel you have booked or in the destination with the mean you have traveled to go there by plane or by train or by car, which basically it's mostly preferred now to avoid this huge mass gatherings. And we see two kinds of categories of people: those who are fed up with the situation and they will travel anyhow, even in big metropolitan cities, even if it is to take the plane, to have this PCR test, vaccinations and all of that, quarantine in some countries still. And we have the other category of people who are reluctant in traveling. They do not wish to travel at all until a permanent solution is there. So we see this a double standard.
Thank you, Anastasia. This is true. I don't know in which category my viewers are, but I am in the category of I don't know, whatever happens, I want to travel.
Yes.
So this
It
brings
is the case, Ankita, that the younger you are, the most restless you are, and you
yes,
are willing
I
to take
agree.
risks, because it is true that the young population is affected the least from this COVID situation. And especially in developed countries, a very high percentage of population, even in young ages like us, we have done both shots, most of us, but still it's this paradox that from one side we want to travel because it makes us feel more happy. There are numerous studies that connect even the planning process of a future trip scheduled even a year from now, let's say. Even this is connected with a better mental health, because we have something happy to wait for. And so it's a paradox, because at the same time it helps us sustain this situation of stress and fear, because of course now in many countries, many cities, we can experience after several months of lockdown. We can experience nice activities, outdoor activities, even museums are open, restaurants, traveling, but all this with this shades of having to wear the masks, disinfectants, social distancing, and all of that, who put a shade on the overall experience, but yet it's necessary until we escape this situation in a permanent basis.
Completely, I agree with you. This brings me to a question. Where are our attendees from? And do let us know if you're vaccinated, like fully vaccinated, and which vaccine did you take? I'm asking this because, as Anastasia said, young population is ready to take the risk, and we are one of them. And I took a risk by taking two different vaccine shots. So I don't know if you have taken also a mixture of the shots of your vaccine. Jaswinder, are you vaccinated? Are you fully vaccinated?
Not yet. I
Did you
didn't
take
take
your?
the first shot. I'm still waiting for my first vaccine. So
Okay,
it's like I'm just waiting for an appointment and everything. So still didn't get. So I
brilliant.
don't know. I think it's like it's okay. I travel here and there. It's okay. I don't mind. But
I,
sometimes I think it's a necessity. Vaccine is, I think, somehow it's works. So
yeah.
I think people have to take that.
I would
Okay.
like to add that most of the people, especially in the younger age groups, choose to take the vaccine just to avoid this hassle and to be able to travel again as they used to. But because we know that other age groups have priorities into these vaccines, this is why we think that the situation will not get back to normal in 2019 levels, that we had a continuous growth in the tourism sector until then. Before end of 2021 in the best scenario, and next year or even later than that in the worst scenario.
Yeah, I mean, the relaxations are going on. Germany is opening up. So hopefully the world will be a better place and we all can travel soon.
Hope
Okay.
so.
Yeah. We also did an interview for one of our Pioneer magazine. You can go on to YouTube later and listen to one of our CEO who was or who is still planning events, so big events like open events. So you can hear from her how positive and negative the year was for her and for her business. Yeah. Okay.
Many events, in order to survive these businesses, had to do initially as everything, nearly everything else, we need to adjust into the virtual world, and then slowly do also these hybrid events that included the panelists and few more guests to be there live, and all the other attendees to attend via online platforms.
Yeah, I think the digital era was literally begin from this COVID-19, right? Like we were doing it earlier.
It was a necessary evil, let's say, which is it saved the situation. It made us feel closer because at least in our generation we had these tools. So it sustained the model even with this virtual connection, let's say.
I agree. I think with education also same has happened. A lot of the students are still back in the home country, but continuing their studies, and as and when the relaxation are going out, they will travel to Germany and meet us on campus. So I think the
Yeah,
digital. Mhm.
I think I'm the example. I just came in March and I'm a student of May 2020 and I
Mhm.
almost finished my all the classes in India. But see, I'm here on my thesis, but
Okay, so So Jaswinder, you did like an online study from India, and then for your last semester you came to Germany. Yeah?
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so now we are going to talk about what tourism industry, in what ways it has changed. So Anastasias, would you like to put us some light on this?
Well, of course, tourism now will never be the same. Of course, we know that eventually it already has started to resume, not with the same level of success in all countries, of course, and in all destinations, because even in the same country, we see less crowded locations, for example, and more crowded, and then we still have this small lockdowns, even if the country is out of the risky zone, let's say, that can affect a little the decision of the tourist to go there or not. But in general, the types of traveling that will gain popularity is, of course, anything that has to do with the sustainability model, because now sustainability is a necessity, and this pandemic brought this subject there more than anything, because it is affected all these hygiene measures, all these new threats that humans are experiencing now with the climate change, and all these new viruses that threaten us are in connection to the pre-existing business model that had to do with the consumption that was pretty much unsustainable, if we consider also that traveling, even until now, the fuels are not 100% sustainable, although there are more friendly fuels. They're not available in most of the countries. So this is something that will take time to gradually get implemented. And tourists who want to be part of this sustainability agenda will want to be the ones to have a positive impact in the destinations that they will choose. So we see now, for example, bio hotels, green hotels that are having more demand. Also products that are being made with fair trade. People want, when they travel now, to have a greater impact in the places, in the destinations that they choose, a greater impact for the locals. So the types of traveling will have to do also with the immerse of slow tourism, as we call it, that has to do with experiencing more the life and the experiences of the local community, and supporting these destinations that are less popular. People will want to avoid the most popular destination because these destinations now are not considered so safe anymore, because all people will want to avoid crowded places. And we can understand from our own perspective as well. We don't feel comfortable going in a place that it's super crowded. So the short-term effects on domestic travel and the long-term effects will be in connection to this sustainability parameter, as well as with our willingness to help, let's say, more the countries, and especially the southern countries that have a better had a bigger impact from this pandemic. So, like for example, southern Mediterranean countries that have this greater dependence from tourism. People, we saw that once the lift of these measures were taken, they wanted to support these countries, and many travelers already booked their vacations in Italy, Spain, Greece, and so on, because it's true that these countries, due to their geographical and historical background, have more dependence on tourism. So people want to help them during this situation. And another impact has to do with um, the, the hotels, how they run their business now. Many hotels, we know that they had to close during pandemics because they could not have a sustainable model because, for example, some hotels that had a target audience of super luxury tourism, they could not transvert as easy as that to welcome, for example, locals and have the rooms used as home office, where other hotels, city hotels, were able to do that formula, and they never closed. We know many brands like Radisson Blu, like Holiday Inn, Marriott, several hotels like city hotels that they never closed. Actually, in many cities of the world, they were able to continue the operational process with less, of course, personnel, but they were also able to reduce the cost, and they were able to offer this long lease to students from abroad, to locals who wanted to use the hotel rooms as home office. So it was a very sustainable model for those hotels. At the same time, for companies like Airbnb, rental companies like that, it was also a solution, and they also had an increase of demand in specific destinations that had to do with people, especially in big cities, for example, like Berlin, Athens, Rome, Paris, and so on. That locals wanted to use them as home office space, and we saw that those hotels and those short-term or long-term rental companies who were able to demonstrate that they have applied also this hygiene measures and protocols, they were able to sustain during this pandemic, and they will be able to sustain from now on, because what customer will continue to demand from now on is when we reach the decision making, to know that even before we check in wherever we go, we will have to expect that the services will be upon the regulations, having in mind all these new protocols and hygiene measures, and to have this guarantee that the specific hotel or house, whatever, will apply this even before we choose to go there.
Yeah.
So also it's about the feedbacks. Now many people will want to see the feedbacks before having any decision, because many companies say that they apply these regulations, but actually the feedbacks, when it comes to the feedbacks, are very poor. So it's going to be a combination of pre-sales, during the sales, and after experiencing this tourism product, that it will influence the whole tourism industry. And of course, not all companies will be able to sustain. Many companies, tourism-related companies, will disappear. Some of them have disappeared already, and other forms will appear. Especially, we have discussed with the membership economy. It's going to be something that it's going to be very much respected, because there are several resort hotels, for example, and other formulas with a membership subscription model that allow the members to feel more safe when choosing a specific brand, that they can expect the same safety measures to be taken with the same guidelines in all destinations and locations that they will choose. So this is the new normal, as we put it.
Yeah. Thank you, Anastasia. So what is the new normal for our attendees? I don't know, but for me, the new normal is the mask. I think at the beginning when we were asked to put mask, we were quite forgetting that, okay, maybe you lost it or you don't remember it. Now I think I just put it. It's like unconscious, like you don't even know that you're doing it. But it's like it has become like part of your attire, I think. We try to do it, and
I think you will know when you have it, when we have the heat and you cannot breathe.
yeah, I
Then you can
agree.
know that you have it.
I was very relieved when they took off the FFP2, the blue one, the white one, and brought back the blue one. I think it is still very suffocating because when you travel, you still have to wear the white one.
You
So
still
I
have to
feel
wear.
more comfortable with the blue one.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
very difficult because day before yesterday I experienced like I have to
Yeah.
wear for like 7 8 hours.
Yeah. Okay, then let's talk about the course that we have at PSBI, because I know a lot of you are interested in what do we study if I'm taking this course? How does PSBI help to enhance my skills when I want to enter job market? So let's listen. How does the tourism course at BSBI prepares you? I can guarantee you one thing: we don't have this traditional approach where you have books and you just mug up things and give exams. No, it's not that. So let's see what different we do from other educational institutions. Yeah. So let's talk about the guest lectures. So Anastasia, I know you keep inviting a lot of industry experts in between of your modules. So could you please tell us something about that?
Yes, of course. I don't see the presentation, the section with this
Oh,
yet for some reason.
sorry. Now?
Yes. So these names listed are only a few. We have had many because, of course, Jaswinder has not participated in all of these, uh, but she can remember one or two. We have had many guest speakers that I personally know from my previous activities. So we have had recently the general manager of Kempinski Hotel, of the prestigious hotel Siragan Palace in Istanbul. We have had the general manager of the famous six-star hotel, it's considered, La Mamunya in Marrakech, Morocco. We have had several owners also, like Ori Kafri, that is listed there, that is the owner of JK Place. It's a luxury brand with hotels in Paris, Italy, and it will expand also in other locations. We have had also other brands like Radisson brand, like Banyan Tree, like Marriott, and so on, from different destinations. because we don't want to focus only in one dimension and discussing only with hotel owners, but also discussing with other entrepreneurs and data analytics experts, because we know that, for example, in marketing, when we apply marketing in any sector, not only tourism, we need to create some models to measure, for example, whatever we measure, even if it is the satisfaction levels, even if it is the sales prediction, the stock, how we plan, how we can make a strategy when we don't know what we are asking for. So all these interviews with the experts, of course, they are greatly appreciated by the students, because they can ask them real questions in real time and learn from the best.
Yeah. I have one quick question for you, Anastasia. So normally, this guest speakers, when are they invited? Like beginning of the module, end of the module, or end of the semester? Like when do we invite them?
It has to do with their availability, obviously, because these are very powerful people, and they have a number of other activities and important meetings and traveling. So usually I try to have at the end of the course, in the middle and at the end, so that they can have a better interaction with the students.
Thank you. Thank you for this. Now I'm very jealous that why I did not take tourism background. I also had guest speakers, but of course they were not as prestigious as I can see on the screen. So let's hear from Jaswinder. Jaswinder, did you had any guest speaker during your studies?
Yeah, I have lots of, especially, and thanks to Professor Anastasia. I'm grateful that she is my professor, and today I'm with her. And actually, she organized lots of guest lectures in like our online platform, and it was a great experience. I remember one of it's not mentioned here, his name over here, but he told us about his experience and how to do a teamwork and like in a big hotels, how many problems are there and how to sort out that, these kind of things. Because to be very frank, I'm also not from a tourism background. I'm a beauty cosmetologist, but I took this course because I just want to do event management. But when I started, when I just know about like tourism now, it's like too depth, and I learned about many things like that. Professor told us about that guest lecture, and he told us about that minor and major things, how you can change the whole scenario in a hotel or in like a tourism industry. It's not about just a tourism, it's about tourism and hospitality both. And that time clicked me many things and gave me lots of ideas. So how I can use those in my future. And especially it's not about like I just want to go in my beauty field. Now I have a different I have lots of things I can do in tourism, in hospitality. So it's like I can use those ideas in like my future.
I agree with you, Jaswinder. Absolutely, because sometimes you don't have that background, but when you hear from
Yes.
the expert, you can actually relate with them because you know they're talking from the real experiences and not from any books, and not just theoretically, but they are in that industry already and they have made the industry work so far. So yes, thank
Yeah.
you, Anastasia and Jaswinder, for this. I know our viewers are enjoying it. So let's quickly move to the next section. Okay, 1 second. Yeah. So this is my favorite topic. There's a reason for this. So Anastasia organizes this Café Scientifique events. So she has been kind to all of our students. So those guest lectures, they are very particular to MA Tourism students only because they are between their modules. But she also arranges Café Scientifique events, which can be participated by anyone. So even if you are not a BSBI student and you want to see like what happens is those in those open events where guest speakers come and speak, then you're very well welcome to join this Cafe Scientific events. You can quickly go on the website of a BSBI and just search Cafe Scientific, and you should be able to see all the previous events that we have hosted so far, and you can also see the upcoming ones. And there should be a link for you to register and join. So Anastasia, would you like to put some light on this event? What do we do?
The initiative actually was to make the students, not only the existing ones, but also the previous, like yourself or any other potential ones, to join these events that don't have a clear focus in one industry, because what we want there is to bring light in different perspectives on different topics that concern just everybody. For example, I will just mention some topics that we have analyzed so far. The first had to do with the impacts of the COVID pandemics in our mental health. And there we had different approaches because we had not only invited as guest speakers, as panelists, people from the psychology sector, but also from art, because how art is connected to, as I mentioned, tourism is something that can help us generate these happy hormones, but art is also another activity that can also help us, together with exercise and proper food, to minimize the negative effects and maximize all these potentials that we have. That for sure, for everybody, it was not easy to stay home with the pajamas. And we knew the new model also with the top executives staying home. You know, it's not very pleasant. It's pleasant if it is for a short time, but it has a very bad impact in the mental health and in the production process in general. So we organized that at the perfect timing when the second lockdown began. That was before Christmas. And then we continued with another, with the effects of economy after the pandemics. That we wanted to give some hope, because already several industries were preparing for the post-pandemic economy. So there we had invited the Airbus area manager, Stefania Gallo, that I personally know, and she made the favor to come and speak. And also other executives, that each one of them approached the subject from another dimension. So it's very important to see, for example, how everybody can see his personality adapted to something that it isn't affecting only a personal way of living, but it's affecting also so many others, from small level in hierarchy to big positions in hierarchy. And we saw, for example, during that event, how big companies like Airbus, for example, is taking care of the personnel in order to minimize this alienation feeling that is created with home office and things like that, and some aggression that it's visible in some emails, and several studies were conducted in big companies like Google and so on, because it is lacking the unit building. It is lacking team building events during the lockdown. So we try to do these virtual events to bring this somehow to bring it closer to our viewers to feel member of this. And of course, the students were able to ask many questions live to our guest speakers. So the rest Café Scientifique events were on more positive subjects like creativity and leadership, where we had very prestigious panelists. I will mention some of them. For example, we had the president of Christie's, the very famous auction house. We had very well-known owners of galleries, directors of symphonic orchestra, philharmonic orchestra of Canada. I always try to bring people from different countries and different sectors and different backgrounds that somehow are connected to the main topic, because it can enrich the final outcome, and everybody who participates can grab something out of it to remember. So one other that I remember was the artificial intelligence in business, that was, if I remember correctly, was very much liked by the audience, because it touches present challenges, like the use of all these tools and all of the uncertainty in connection to this rise of power of artificial intelligence. Many people fear that they will lose their jobs. It is the case for some category of jobs, of course, but it's not the case at the same time for some new jobs that can be created and that didn't exist until now. For example, iCloud manager and stuff like this. So it's just a tool, and as I have mentioned, when of course changes happen, you don't expect them, but the best way to adjust is to be able to predict them somehow and to prepare yourself to better adapt in the new circumstances accordingly. So all these events, it just shed light with the experts that we give the access to our students to ask live questions and to absorb whatever they want. For example, when we watch a movie, not everybody remember the movie, and not everybody are touched by the movie or a book, whatever, in the same way. Everybody catches and remembers the thing that is more relevant and can make a difference to his or her life. So I believe that all these activities are valuable, and of course anybody can also watch them recorded, as we also upload them on our official website.
Thank you, Anastasia. And I completely agree with this. That a lot of time, maybe one of the guest lecture has inspired you and maybe he is not. So we try to host such events where we try to invite 5 or 6 guest speakers, and we are sure there is something for everyone who is viewing that event online with us. And I am going to say that we might be short of time, because I know, Anastasia, you have another appointment. So we only have few more minutes. So apologies if I'm going too fast with the next upcoming slides and I'm not having enough time for you guys to speak. But maybe at the end, when we have question and answers, I want to keep those 5 minutes for question and answers for students to ask them. Yeah. Okay, so other than guest speaker events, other than Café Scientifique, what else BSBI does to help you with your course? So this is what we do. Let me quickly show you the pictures that we have from the field visits. So we also, one second. Okay. Yeah. So we also, of course, we were doing it before pandemic, but these are few pictures where our students have visited various brands. So they literally go. We speak with the companies. They arrange a timing for us. Our students can go and see their operational side of the office. They can speak with few of experts who are there working to have the real life experience. So you not only hear from our experts, but you also get a chance to go on a field trip to various companies where you know about what Facebook does. This is a picture of students who went to the Red Bull company. They were invited to work on some startup project. So this chances are also given because sometimes it is also benefits for companies to know what the young minds think, how differently their mind works, or what is that their generation wants. So this is that, and that is a picture of Café Scientifique. That is Anastasia's over there. I don't remember. It was second or third, I think. I don't remember that. And the last picture you
I
see is the
think,
Bible
if
bag.
I'm not mistaken, I think it was the one that we held on March with smart airports and ports.
Airports and
Uh,
hubs, yeah.
where we had also very important guest speakers from airlines and from ports. And it was very interesting as well to see these different dimensions. Now that you mentioned these site visits, I know that it's what students missed the most during the lockdown. Having talked with several of them, those old students, I mean, that had the chance to compare and they had the chance to visit live. Unfortunately, during the lockdown, nobody was willing to do so because they were not even willing to let their own employees go in the office. They were all turned home office. So this is the reason why we offered the virtual possibilities so that all these experts come and talk live with the students during the sessions or during the Café Scientifique. And also we organized other webinars like other initiatives. If you remember the startup competition organized by with very nice interesting awards organized by the German Ministry of Business Affairs and Energy in cooperation with Investment Bank of Berlin. That was very interesting for those who wanted to participate and start up something on their own. I think Jaswinder remembers.
Yeah, yeah, I remember.
Because they were given different guidelines and different opportunities for free for pitching events. So this has to do with whenever a person feels ready, or if he or she is not ready, they can do in the next phase, and they just can participate in these virtual events. But after the situation gets back to normal, these events will be live again. So another such opportunity was when during another module that I'm doing in connection to marketing, we invited the expert from L'Oreal, that L'Oreal also organizes a very nice initiative to include students ideas, market on, but this time on marketing, creative marketing approaches. And also we had another opportunity from a global initiative startup competition that
Yeah,
we involved our students that was with SDGs goals from an initiative we brought initially from the entrepreneurial modules that anybody could participate from the BSBI community. It had no cost. Everybody were able to join and present and to work into teams. But this time it was not teams locally, it was also teams internationally. So there are different initiatives that are given at all times. And it is just like the saying, we provide you the field, You play ball.
And I just want to add in like that, not this. Professors also like encourage you to participate in those fields so you can gain more knowledge about that. So I remember that one business plan. So she motivated me a lot. So you can make that, and you can make a good creativity idea. So you have to participate in that. So it's like I will for sure, and next I will participate in like business plan
Sometimes
ideas
in
or
life
somehow
we just
integrate.
need the stimulations needs to be there, because of course what would Elon Musk or Bill Gates or
Yeah,
anybody now that we admire would be if they didn't have the proper stimulations? But how they had these stimulations? They were always on the search. They were always on the search to gain more, and they were never satisfied. The more stimulations you have, the more potentials to do something unique you have.
yes.
Perfect. Thank you. I know we are like about the time, but I'll quickly go through the remaining slides and then we'll quickly jump to the questions because I see a lot of questions in the chat box already.
Sure.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, so this was all about what we have for you together with your module. With regards to career services, what we offer on campus is we keep having those workshops for you. We are doing it online now because a lot of them are not here in country. They are still back in the home country waiting for visas. But we don't keep you away from services just because you're not with on us on the campus. So we try to do as much as possible online, and I think students are loving it because they're able to attend it, and if not, we keep it recorded so they can see it later. So what we offer you in this career services is you also have a career department here. They keep organizing CV and career workshop letters. So it is more about guiding you on how to prepare a CV and cover letter as per German standards. You can also have like a mock interview if you already have a job offer and you know, okay, I'm progressing to the next step. You can book an interview session, like a mock interview session with a career manager, and you get a support on that. So you're well prepared before you go for an interview. What we have next is Job Teaser platform. So we have a partnership with Job Teaser where we have a unique section for our BSBI students. You don't get access to this until you're registered with us because the only way to get to this platform is with an BSBI email address. So this Job Teaser platform has a lot of known companies where you can search, and it gives you filtered option on whatever filters you have taken out. Like, okay, I'm a master student for project management, I need something in Berlin. I also need something that has a startup company or company with more than this many employees, corporate companies. And maybe you can also filter out your languages. So if you speak only English and you're still learning German, you can put those filters, and then you can apply for those jobs. So Job Teaser platform has been very popular with our students because it gives you like a filtered option of applying. So these are what we offer in your career services. And of course, there is more. As you know, we're not able to put everything on the presentation, so apologies for that. And the next, what we have, okay, I think maybe it's good to go on with the questions. So these are some of our companies that you can see in the Job Teaser platform. You might also have seen a lot of commercial partners that we have on the website. We have partnership with various insurance companies. You need insurance if you're coming to Germany, various accommodation companies, and so on and on. There is this SERS service, which we also help you with your visa extension. So you get to know all about this. So when you come here, this is just quickly going through accommodation and visa support. And this is about the new methodology that we have invented. We have introduced in our courses that you can completely study your course online as well if you choose to stay from your home country and do the course with us. So that is also there. The delivery of that is UCA, the partnership that you have already seen. We have three universities with us: UniNet, UC, and CUC, and then the synthetic and hybrid metal. That you will have live sessions of the professors online talking with you, and then you also have pre-recorded sessions where you can go and learn them um, on your preferred time. So this is also an option if you don't feel safe now to travel in pandemic. So that is one. And then the online delivery programs option. So if you're bachelor's, you have two options. If you're master's, then you have four options, depending what your specializes in. Yeah. And then, okay, so I'm sorry if I run very fast, but I just wanted to reach this slide so that we can go through the questions. So Anastasia, I know you only have 5 more minutes to help us answer those questions. So Anastasia, do we really help students in applying, or do we help them giving any resources to find jobs in the tourism industry? Like, I know this is more of question for careers, but if you invite guest speakers, do they get an option of reaching them out later or building a network with those guest speakers?
Well, of course, this is also what the guest speakers themselves empower the students to do, to reach them out at any time, also on their social pages and also via email. So this is one small addition to the already important job that our career services is doing with all these partnerships that you mentioned.
Thank you. Jaswinder, are you working somewhere? Like, do you plan to work with any tourism industry company here in Germany or Berlin?
Yeah, I want to work in like TUI groups.
Mhm.
It's a very famous company. So because I heard many things and I did some research on that also, and so that's why I just want to do job with that company.
We wish you all the
It's
best.
thank you, and
And
Okay.
it's not
also
a
at
very
that point, I would like to add that also because one of the modules that we have, it's as you saw the students earlier in the previous slide with MBA Global and all of that, but also in the tourism studies, we have modules focusing more into entrepreneurship. And as I mentioned, the guest speakers that I'm inviting come from different backgrounds, and also those who are entrepreneurs and they don't work in a high position for somebody else, even if it is in tourism sector or any other sector. Those who are entrepreneurs have also empowered the students before they start up anything on their own, which is the dream of everybody, is to work first, but to work for the best. Work, choose wisely for who you work for, because you must choose someone who will empower you to gain, to be able to grow, to gain, and then you can use that positive, you can accumulate these positive experiences, and of course there is no error, it's only error and learn. So you need to choose wisely, and as Jaswinder said, of course, it's nice to work with the best, but it's not always translated to work for big brands. It can be
yeah.
as well a startup, but which has the vision to empower the staff and is performing, for example, the staff retention strategy. That can be also a very nice plan because there are companies like that that motivate you and they can bring the best out of you. So I encourage all the students when in their search, not to focus only in the big brands that we all want in our profile, but also to seek advices and to trust their instincts and to trust how is the chemistry, because sometimes even a startup can be a very good choice to get you into another step.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I just want to start up like my in my own field also because I have a experience that. So that is also one company name. It's not a big brand. It's like a Batrix. So I just want to do something, start a business with them. I don't know it will go how far, but I will try it. I just want to go for that.
Try.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know it's 3 o'clock, like on time, but I'll quickly take one last questions, and I'm really sorry if we have not answered any question there's in the chat box. There's a question about scholarship. Let me answer this. So yes, you do have a scholarship options with us. You actually have scholarships for 2 times. You can apply for a scholarship pre-enrollment like with your application with us, and then once maybe you have after applied after you are registered with us, also you also have an opportunity of doing post scholarship. So just go on our website and type scholarship, and it should give you two options. It should show you what is the eligibility criteria, how you can apply, where you can email, and so on and on. Yeah. So thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope we have managed to give you information for which you registered with us for viewing this webinar. And thank you, Anastasia, for coming here and explaining them what they can expect if they are planning to take up this course. And thank you, Jaswinder, for joining us today. I know it's like a tight schedule for students and lecturers in between of teaching and studying, but I really appreciate that you gave us 1 hour and shared your insights with our viewers today.
It
No
was my
worries.
pleasure.
Okay.
Also seeing Jaswinder again. Jaswinder, I wish all the success and to enjoy your stay in Frankfurt now.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, Amidst.
everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Then take care and stay safe and keep traveling once everything opens up. Yeah. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.